Hello, everybody, and happy Independence Day to my fellow Americans. I am a bit of a patriot myself, and I love that we have this day set aside to celebrate our freedoms because we really are so blessed. And one of the things I have had the great honor of being able to participate in is I have been able to be a part of several patriotic themed shows throughout my life. And sometimes those shows were there to honor public servants like, the military, of course, and police officers and firefighters and the like. And I just think that is just so important because those people are absolutely responsible for preserving so much of the freedoms that we do enjoy. So I think it's important to set that time aside on a day like today to remember those who have worked so diligently in jobs of high risk just to preserve what we enjoy every day and take for granted. But even aside from that very noble cause, the one thing I absolutely do love is the patriotic music itself. And participating in those shows was always fun for me because I liked the music. And some people might think patriotic songs are, maybe a little bit on the hokey side, but I always found them really fun and upbeat, and they were actually very touching to me. Those songs that we sing every year, we would sing in school or sometimes even in church or other venues. And I find them kind of almost like Christmas carols. Like they just have that special feeling that everybody knows these songs and everybody's grown up with them, and we sing them on a holiday like the 4th of July. And as I was thinking about it, of all the patriotic songs though, there is one that is my absolute favorite. It has always stood out to me as being very special, and that is the Battle Hymn of the Republic. And this song was written by Julia Ward Howe. And I just wanted to give a little bit of a background on this song and why it was written. Okay, so it was a song, like Julia Ward Howe first gained renown because of writing this song, and it was originally written in 1862, but it was originally written as a poem that was published in Atlantic Monthly magazine. So as a person who loves poetry, I certainly can appreciate its poetic nature because it is beautiful. And let me tell you, most people are only familiar with the first verse, but I think the song is so rich and it is worth, revisiting all these verses. And what's interesting is that she only received $4 for the song at the time. And when you think about it, think about how we still sing this song to this day and only $4. I mean, maybe back then $4 was worth a lot more than we think of $4, but still, sometimes some of the most important works, don't necessarily always receive, its due at the time, but it has stood the test of time. And it was eventually put to a dirge called John Brown's Body. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting because we usually think of patriotic songs as being upbeat and, they really like motivate and they get you going. And it's like the John Philip Sousa, marches and things like that. And, to think that this song always had a little bit of a dirgy feel, and yet it still hits right here. And I found it interesting that President Lincoln reportedly cried the first time he heard it. And you think about that rich history of, President Lincoln being one of the first to be an audience to that song during the Civil War era, because she was really hoping that this piece would help the Union win the war and free slaves in the South. And what better cause can you think of than that? And I believe that God was with the Union in that fight because it was a noble cause to fight for the freedom of man. And so I just wanted to read this poem to you, which we all know as the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fatal lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. I have read a fiery gospel, written burnished rows of steel. As ye deal with my contemners, so with you my grace shall deal. Let the hero born of woman crush the serpent with his heel, since God is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. And I mean, you think about that and how that was what was leading the charge, was this idea of making men free in a time when, even though our country understood this, it missed the boat when it came to slavery, and we're still dealing with that today. But this song really depicts just how important that is to God. So I just really wanted to share that with you today. I hope you're having a wonderful celebration and doing all the fun festivities, but it's always good to take a moment just to reflect on some of the historical nature, in the midst of all the fun that we have, and remember why it is that we celebrate today. And I just want to close with a couple of verses from John 8:36, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And it was for freedom that Christ set us free. Therefore, keep standing firm and do not be subject again to a yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:1. Act as free men and do not use your freedom as a covering for evil, but use it as bondslaves of God. 1 Peter 2:16. And my personal favorite, 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that is the nature of our God. He is a God of freedom, and he comes to set the captives free. So I am thankful today that I am free, not just in our country and that I get to enjoy the freedom of our country, but I am free in Christ because he came to set me free. And so that's what I celebrate today. And I hope you have a beautiful, blessed, exciting, and celebratory day. Happy Independence Day.